Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter, and this is EQ Video Tip. Today we've got an amazing show and we're going to talk about neuroscience. Yes, neuroscience. Before we get into that, let's get into the goals of EQ Video Tip. Welcome back. We said we're going to talk about neuroscience today, and we're actually going to talk about the neuroscience behind keeping yourself focused on hard tasks. And this comes from David Badri, who wrote a great article on how to keep yourself focused during a hard task in order to achieve it. Now, one of the most rewarding moments comes when you're working on a hard problem or a difficult task and you solve it. And making sense of that result, or working on a new model, or even writing a paper, those are intellectual challenges that make you feel successful and make it so exciting to be in the career that you're in right now. But doing that hard task is in fact really, really hard. That's why we call it hard. It can frustrate you, it can weigh on you, it can cause you to procrastinate, and you struggle to actually get it done. We often postpone these things, such as hard tasks, to begin on something much easier that's a quick win, some type of easy task like fine-tuning a figure or organizing our calendars or checking our email. Instead of doing that, we're going to focus on tips today that we struggle with and then how to get over them. And that's the importance of this neuroscience between keeping yourself focused on a hard task and moving forward. Everybody experiences procrastination or work avoidance, and the guilt that comes with that as well. There's no avoiding these experiences, but there are some strategies that can help you out, keep you focused, and hopefully allow you to accomplish that task even faster. Our first tip, make space. And when I say space, not this big room, but make space and time for yourself. To solve a hard problem, your brain needs access to the information, the plans, the procedures, and the knowledge it's going to use. And cognitive science refers to this collective task as a task set. But the task set isn't always immediately available. We can't hold all that active information in our mental space or workload or our working memory all the time. Instead, we need a time and a place to sit down, put our pen to paper or our hands to a keyboard to organize and understand everything that we need so that it's at the forefront of our minds and can be mentally retrieved whenever we need it. Our first recommendation then is to set aside large blocks of time to work on different projects. It could be 3-hour time sets in the morning or a lunch break. It doesn't matter what it is, but put together a long gap that are needed to ensure that intense thought and work required for these hard tasks are focused on, and it reestablishes our ability to work with that task set that we talked about in the beginning. We have to be consistent with that, because if you switch between that task set and other things, as in multitasking, then your brain has to relearn or recollect all that information in its working memory to understand what's going on. So you should consistently have a time that you're working on this information so that you don't have to relearn that, and it can aid to your memory as well. When you do this and create this space, it will make you more effective in solving your task. Tip number 2, minimize distractions and never multitask. Now, I can tell you myself, I'm a terrible multitasker and I use it all the time, unfortunately. So when we multitask, what happens? It takes us time to switch from one thing to another, and it impacts our performance and the quality of what we're doing. This partly happens because we're using shared cognitive resources, such as working memory, and as a result, we compete for shared resources and they interfere with one another. So remove the cues for multitasking. What does that mean? Silence your phone. Put your computer on focus for that time. Or if you're not working with a computer or a phone, which would be great, put them away, put them asleep, silence them so you have time to focus on everything and the task that's clear at hand. Be aware of the allure of the easy task that's out there as well. When we're doing tasks in general, our brains do a quick cost benefit analysis, even if we don't think about it, and we weigh the value of a quick win outcome, such as I'll just respond to one email, versus I need to solve this quadratic equation problem. So make sure that you're avoiding those small quick wins in particular so that you're gaining progress, but not that immediate quick win as well. This will affect your motivation because your brain will naturally tend to move itself towards the easier quick win problem as opposed to solving that bigger think big item that you have out there as well. Take a moment to minimize your distractions and don't multitask. That's tip number 2. Engage in good problem-solving habits. And when we say this, there's a few subcategories to it, so we'll go through all of them. But to solve a hard problem or task, we have to structure ourselves and the problem in a way that will allow us to succeed and enable us to be more successful with good long-term thinking. The first part of that is stay with it. Find the right structure that works for you. This could mean not making progress every day, but building different blocks to make your problem successful. It's important to keep trying as you go through it. Speaking of keeping trying to a problem, take breaks. Even though we're setting aside time, it doesn't mean that you have to work for a 2-hour, 4-hour, 8-hour block all in one sitting. What it does mean, though, is that you set aside time just to work on that task and then take breaks if something isn't working or mental stimulation away from the problem itself. Because if your mental prospects are low, it might not allow you to get new concepts and new structures to be considered. And speaking of taking a break, the third piece is interact with others. Just like taking a break, interacting with others can help you conceptualize a problem in a new way. Talking to people with diverse backgrounds, perspectives, and viewpoints that differ from your own can be a powerful way to break out of a rut and make progress. So, let's engage in good problem-solving habits when we're thinking about how to solve complex problems by using neuroscience that we just talked about today. That's a wrap for today. Remember, hard tasks are an essential part of our work in the world. There's no simple trick to get smart or suddenly make a hard task effortless. They require a lot of work and a lot of concentration. So use these tasks that we're going to repeat with you right now and take your time to understand them. But use what's best for you and customize it to the best of your ability. Here's a quick recap of what we talked about today. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ video tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.